You wake up, and before your feet even touch the floor, it has already started. The mental list, the emails, the appointments, the things you forgot to do yesterday that are now today's emergency. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, you realize you haven't taken a single real breath, not one. That feeling right there, that tight, breathless, overwhelming feeling, that is what we are talking about today. Because here is what nobody tells you. Calm is not something you find on a vacation. It is not something that shows up when your schedule finally clears. And it is definitely not something that only certain lucky people get to feel. Calm is a skill. And like any skill, once you actually learn how to use it correctly, it changes everything. Now before we go any deeper, the related programs linked down below in the video description exist for a reason. People who felt exactly like you do right now found their way through this, and they did not do it alone. If you are serious about actually building this into your life, and not just watching another video and forgetting it by tomorrow, those programs are worth your attention. But if you think you can figure all of this out on your own, keep watching. Maybe you will. Let us talk about what is really happening to you on those brutal days. You know the ones, the kind where you wake up already feeling behind, where the morning feels like a race you did not sign up for, where every task on your list feels like it is multiplying instead of shrinking, where you are responding to people, making decisions, moving your body through the world, and somehow feeling completely disconnected from all of it at the same time. That disconnection is not weakness. That is your nervous system telling you it is overloaded, and the cruel part is that the more overloaded it gets, the harder it becomes to think clearly. The harder it becomes to think clearly, the slower everything gets. The slower everything gets, the more behind you feel. And then the cycle starts all over again the next morning. Studies show that people operating in a chronic state of low-grade stress are making decisions up to 40% slower than they would in a regulated state. Think about what that means for your day, for your work, for the people around you who need you to be present. You are essentially working twice as hard and getting a fraction of the results. And it is not because you are not capable, it is because nobody taught you how to reset. Here is the pattern interrupt moment. Stop what you are doing right now and take one breath in through your nose, slow, deep, all the way down. Hold it for just a second, and let it out through your mouth. Did something shift, even slightly? That is not a coincidence. That is your nervous system responding to a direct signal, and that is just the beginning of what you can do. The people who have genuinely mastered calm on their busiest days are not doing what you think they are doing. They are not meditating for an hour before sunrise. They are not living some perfect minimalist life. They are doing small, precise, almost invisible things at the right moments throughout the day. And those things compound over time in ways that are almost shocking when you look back. Imagine getting to the end of a genuinely chaotic day and feeling like you handled it. Not survived it, handled it. Imagine your mind being clear enough that you are actually solving problems instead of reacting to them. Imagine the people around you noticing that something has changed about you, that you seem steadier, more grounded, more like the version of yourself you actually want to be. That is not fantasy. That is the result of understanding how your nervous system actually works and giving it what it needs exactly when it needs it. And here is the beautiful thing. Once you have this, it does not take long. Some of the most effective regulation techniques take less than 90 seconds to activate. 90 seconds. That is less time than it takes to scroll through your phone and accomplish nothing. Here is another pattern interrupt. The moments you feel the most overwhelmed are actually the moments where a tiny intervention will have the biggest impact. Most people do the opposite. They push through, they grind harder, they tell themselves they will rest later, and later never comes. The ones who actually feel calm on busy days are not resting more. They are resetting smarter. There is something called cognitive load, and on your heaviest days, yours is maxed out. Every decision you make, every interruption you absorb, every unresolved worry sitting in the back of your mind is pulling from the same limited pool of mental energy. When that pool runs low, anxiety rises, focus drops, small things feel enormous. And you start to feel like you are failing at a life that you actually built. That last part. You built this life, you chose these responsibilities because they matter to you. And the fact that it feels overwhelming sometimes does not mean you made a mistake. It means you are human, and it means you need tools that actually match the complexity of the life you are living. The shift happens when you stop treating calm like a destination and start treating it like a daily practice. Not a dramatic practice, not an hour-long ritual, small, consistent, evidence-backed moments woven throughout your actual day. A specific breathing pattern before a difficult conversation. A 10-second grounding technique when your mind starts to spiral. A simple end-of-day reset that takes less than 3 minutes and actually allows your brain to decompress instead of carrying everything into tomorrow. People who implement these kinds of strategies consistently report feeling dramatically more in control within the first 2 weeks. Not because their lives got easier, their lives did not get easier, they got better at navigating them. And that distinction is everything. Here is another pattern interrupt. The version of you that feels calm and capable is not waiting for circumstances to change. That version of you is waiting for you to stop leaving this until tomorrow. Because every day you put this off is another day of operating below the level you are actually capable of. Another day of unnecessary friction. Another day of lying awake at night replaying the day and wondering why you feel so drained. Let us talk about what it would feel like 6 months from now if you actually committed to this. You would wake up with a different relationship to your mornings. Not because the mornings would be quieter, they probably would not be, but because your nervous system would know how to greet them instead of brace for them. You would move through your day with a sense of steadiness that other people would notice and wonder about. You would stop losing hours to mental fog and start actually being present for the moments that matter. The cost of staying exactly where you are right now is not zero. Every day that your stress response is running in the background is a day of compounding damage to your focus, your relationships, your physical health, and your sense of self. That is the cost of inaction that nobody talks about. It is invisible until suddenly it is not. And here is the final pattern interrupt. You are still watching. Which means some part of you already knows that what you have been doing is not working well enough. Some part of you knows that pushing harder without changing your approach is just exhausting you at a faster rate. That part of you is right, and that part of you brought you here. The related programs linked down below in the video description are there for the people who are done just knowing they need to change and are ready to actually do it. People in overwhelming situations, high-pressure lives, chaotic schedules, came through this feeling like entirely different versions of themselves. Not someday. Within weeks. The programs are there, the path is there. But this moment, this specific moment of motivation and clarity you are feeling right now, this is the moment that matters. Because this feeling is temporary, and if you do not act on it right now, tomorrow will feel exactly like today did. You already know what that costs. The link is right there below this video. Go now.